Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we're going to talk about that how are interviews conducted for articleship in Big 4. तो जब भी मैं कोई आर्टिकलशिप से रिलेटेड वीडियो बनाती हूँ तो सबसे ज़्यादा कमेंट्स मुझे आते हैं कि कितने राउंड्स होते हैं इंटरव्यू के, कौन इंटरव्यू लेता है, कैसे इंटरव्यूज़ होते हैं, क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, क्या होता है. तो मैं सोचा कि मैं एक फुल फ्लेजेड वीडियो बनाती हूँ जिसमें मैं सब कुछ बताऊंगी आपको कि इंटरव्यूज़ कैसे होते हैं, बिग 4 का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, इंटरव्यूज़ कौन लेता है, कितने राउंड्स होते हैं, क्या सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया होता है, सब कुछ. इस वीडियो में सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस नहीं होंगे, ये क्वेश्चंस कौन से पूछे जाते हैं उसके लिए आई मेक अ सेपरेट वीडियो, क्योंकि दैट इज़ एंटायरली अ सेपरेट टॉपिक जिस पे एक फुल फ्लेजेड वीडियो में बनाऊंगी कि कौन से राउंड में किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं. बट इन टूडेज वीडियो वी आर गोइंग टू फोकस आवरसेल्व्स ऑन अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट हाउ आर इंटरव्यूज टेकन, हाउ मेनी राउंड्स आर देयर, who takes your interview, which round is a HR round, which round is a technical round, because बच्चे बहुत confused रहते हैं कि यार HR round में क्या होता है, फिर technical में क्या होता है, फिर टेक्निकल में HR में पूछते हैं, मतलब बहुत कन्फ्यूजन है. सो आज इस वीडियो से मैं आपका सारा कन्फ्यूजन दूर कर दूंगी. सो इफ यू न्यू टू दिस चैनल, please subscribe to my channel. It's free for you, but it literally increases my motivation to make more useful content for you all. So without wasting any further time, let's dive into the video. So the first thing which we'll talk about is the organization flow. That what are the types of positions you have, who is senior, who is junior, and how the delegation of authority flows basically. So we're going to talk about that. So the lowest position in a Big 4 is, I think, of an article assistant, like me and you, definitely. Then we have assistant managers who are qualified chartered accountants. Sometimes they are not, sometimes they are. So they are basically who have at least 2 or 3 years of experience. And also CA freshers who join in are also given a position of an article assistant, at least in Deloitte. So see, the name of the position might differ from organization to organization. As like in EY, if you talk about EY, the fresher who joins in, a CA fresher who joins in EY is known as an executive, but in Deloitte, he or she is known as an assistant manager. In EY, assistant manager is a person who has been working with that, working in EY for like 4 to 5 years and has got promoted from executive to senior executive and then assistant manager. But in Deloitte, assistant managers are basically CA freshers only who join in. So the name of the position might differ, but the organization flows like this only. So I am giving the terminologies of Deloitte because I am working in Deloitte, so I am literally well aware of how the organization flows in organization flow is there in Deloitte. So I'm going to stick with the terminologies of Deloitte. It might differ organization to organization. So we're talking about Deloitte, the lowest position is of article assistant. Then you have an assistant manager. Sometimes in between these two there is a consultant. Sometimes there is not. Consultants are basically CA dropouts or someone from different field like ACCA or a MBA. They are given a position of consultant and they are basically then promoted to assistant managers. But if you are joining in as a CA fresher, you get the post of assistant managers. After assistant managers, you have deputy managers, then you have managers, then you have senior managers, then you have associate director, then you have director, and then you have partner. So this is the flow. Just repeating one more time. Articles, consultant, assistant manager, deputy manager, manager, senior manager, associate director, director, partner. So this is the entire flow which is there in Big 4. Now talking about the second thing, since you understood the organization flow, I am going to tell you about how the teams are divided. So Big 4 is basically entirely divided into 2 functions. Risk advisory function, statutory audit function, which is also known as advisory or audit service function. Then you have direct tax function, indirect tax function, financial advisory function, and blah blah other functions as well. So there are different functions which you have. Now Deloitte only has different functions. Now in this entire different functions, you have different teams because there are different partners. So each partner has his or her own team. If there is a particular partner in internal audit function, he or she will has his or her own team. Okay, so I hope you have understood that there is a Big Four, different functions. Under different functions, there are different partners who have their different teams. So this is the team dividation which is there in Big Four. Now, since when you are applying, okay, you are applying to a particular function, your resume will go to that particular partner only. If you are applying to an internal audit function, your resume will go to a internal audit partner under whom there is a vacancy. Then he or she will tell the HR that yes, this let's schedule a interview for this particular candidate. Okay, this is the flow which goes on. So it's not that you are applying, you are giving the interview, and then after the interview the HR tells you, okay, you are going to be there in this function. No, this is not the case. Functions are the vacancies which comes out as in a function only, that there is a vacancy in particular, let's say in internal audit function, or a vacancy is there in a tax function, a vacancy is there in mergers and acquisition function. So vacancies comes out as functions only. So before applying to any vacancy, see that which function is that. Okay, because there is a lot of confusion between students that in the interview will they tell us that in which function are we selected, or after our interview our HR will call us that okay, you're selected in this function. No, this is not the case, because every function also has a different HR. So it depends that what function you're going into, on you only, that where you are applying to. Now the third thing, let's move on to how the interview flows. The first thing is that HR will call you. First you are applying to any particular function, the HR will call you. Now HR will call you and ask you a few basic questions: your education qualification, why do you want to join that particular Big Four, and sometimes he or she might also ask you where do you see yourself 5 years later. So this is basically a HR round. There is no separate HR round that is there in a Big Four. No separate HR round. HR round is basically a telephonic conversation between you and the HR when the HR is calling you for the first time. HR will call you, ask you for a time slot, ask you for your time convenience, that whenever you are available for the interview, will ask you that. Also will ask you about your education qualification, what are you doing currently, have you completed your ITOC trainings, what is your interest, and of course he or she can also ask you about where do you see yourself 5 years later, why do you want to join this particular organization, why do you want to join that particular domain. And by asking all these questions, she or he is only testing your communication skills, that whether you are able to answer that questions in English. And yes, interviews are conducted only in English. This is a widely asked question in all the videos, under all the videos in the comment section, that whether interviews are conducted in English or Hindi. Is it compulsory to give interviews in English? Yes, it is. Guys, it is a Big Four. It is working with all sorts of clients. How can they take a candidate who is not well versed in English? Because see, if you're going into audit function is a client facing role, and since it is a client facing role, client can talk into any language, Hindi, English. If he or she is talking in English, you have to talk in English. If he or she is talking in Hindi, you can talk in Hindi as well. It depends on the relationship between you and your client then. But still, English matters, at least in the interviews. So you have to be well versed on your communication skills in English. So interviews are conducted only in English, and in the HR round, when the HR is calling you telephonically, she is taking an interview just to check your technical skills. She will not ask you what is AS2, how the inventory is valued, or anything. So HR is not going to ask any technical question. She is not a technical person. She is just checking your confidence and your communication skills. That's it. Nothing related to AS or essays or any technical question. Now the second interview, now she'll ask you about your time slots, and she'll schedule an interview with the first person, and that first interview that will be conducted by associate director or a director. Sometimes the interview is also taken by a manager. So from all these three persons, anyone will take your interview. This will be a technical round where they will ask you about AS, AS, essays. If you're going to tax functions, they can also ask you regarding deductions, TDS. If you're going into transaction pricing or something, they can ask you questions related to that. We'll cover all these question parts into a different video, which will come up really very soon. Let's stick to how an interview flows. So in this round, basically the manager, associate director, or director round, you will basically tested on your technical knowledge as well. He or she will ask you all the technical questions. Also, he or she will ask you the questions the HR asked. Basically, the HR on questions will also be asked here, because he or she also has to test your communication skills. Here they'll also ask you that whether you will be able to manage the workload, how will you manage your articleship with your studies, how will you manage the CA final studies. Basically, they will also ask you whether you have worked before, what are the experiences, if you have any, like if you have any few internships or something, you can tell about that. Also, they'll ask you questions regarding Excel and everything. So they will basically test everything: technical, HR, communication skills, confidence, everything. Now the third round, which is there, is a partner round, where a partner basically comes and takes your interview. In this round also, it is a technical plus communication skills plus the HR round. But the technical portion is a bit less in this round. It is more about telling you about what kinds of clients he or she has. Basically the partner will tell you what kind of work he has, what he expects from an article. He'll tell you about his experiences, and he'll ask you about your experiences. He will definitely ask you a few technical questions as well, just to check your technical knowledge. He'll definitely ask you about how will you manage a CA final studies. Definitely again repeated question. This question, that how will you manage a CA final studies along with your articleship, will be asked in, I think, all the rounds. Number of rounds doesn't matter. Basically there are only 3 rounds: HR, manager, director, and the partner round. In all the 3 rounds this question will be asked. HR might or might not ask, but the second round and third round, in the second round and third round, this question will definitely be there, that how will you manage your studies. So be ready, be prepared to answer this question properly. All the rounds will start with a brief discussion, brief introduction of yourself. They will ask you basically to introduce yourself. This question will look like, tell me about yourself, or take me through your resume. So this question will be there in all the 3 rounds, and the first question will be this only: tell me about yourself. So you have to be prepared for this question as well, that you have to be literally mastered in this question, because this question can make or break your game, because this is the first question, and the first impression is definitely the last impression in an interview. Okay, so these are the 3 rounds which are basically conducted in the articleship. But now coming on to a twist, that Deloitte has recently started taking group discussions as well as the second round. So after the HR, there is a group discussion round. Group discussion is basically activity wherein there are 5 or 6 people, including you. You will be given a topic and you have to discuss on that topic. So this round is there. Currently, it is taken only by Deloitte and only in their statutory audit domain. So whenever there are any hirings for statutory audit domain, there is a GD round. So you have to be well prepared for that as well. Also, I'm coming up with a video really super soon, that how a GD is being done, how you can ace your GD, what are the tips and tricks you need to keep in mind while you're giving a GD. This video is really coming super soon, because I've already shot this video. It is in the editing process. So after this video comes up, next video is GD process only. So don't worry about that. I've covered that in a separate video in a very detail, that how you can perfectly give your GD. But it is currently being taken only by Deloitte while hiring in the statutory audit domain. So not to worry so much about GD. But still, I'm just telling you that after the HR, there is a GD round in Deloitte, and then there is a manager, director, and partner round. But in all other 3 Big 4s, it is HR, manager, director, and partner. So this brings us to the end of the video. I hope you got some insights on how the interviews are done, how the interviews are scheduled, how organization looks, how the Big 4 are basically structured. So if you feel that this video was helpful for you, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section how was the video, and also let me know what kind of videos do you want me to make next, what help do you want from me. And if you want any personalized guidance on CV review, how to prepare for articleship interviews, how to ace your interviews, any mock interview if you want to give to practice as a practice interview, so definitely you can book a talkmate session with me. Link is in the description box below. Do follow me on my LinkedIn. Please join my Telegram channel as well, because I post like a resume formats also, and definitely some tips on how you can basically excel in your CA intermediate, or also how you can go into preparing your CA for your CA articleship interview. So do join my Telegram channel. Link is in the description box below. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.